Everyone gets insulted. Everyone. And almost everyone reacts the same way. Frozen, embarrassed, small. You felt it. A friend slips in a cutting joke at dinner. A coworker smirks in a meeting. A stranger fires a comment online meant to sting. And for a split second, maybe longer, you're stuck. Confidence evaporates. Control disappears. Dignity hangs by a thread. That moment matters more than you think, because insults aren't random. They're tests. They probe your status, your composure, your authority. Most people fail without realizing they were even being tested. They explain, they defend, they laugh nervously, they give ground. You don't have to. These moments can flip instantly. The same attack that was meant to shrink you can elevate you if you know how to handle it. Not with panic, not with politeness, with precision. In this video, you'll see how dominance actually works in social combat. High-status reframes, brutal reversals, subtle charisma, humor used like a blade, silence used like a weapon. Watch closely. Not everything will be spelled out. That's intentional. By the end, insults won't rattle you. They'll expose the other person. Subscribe. These lessons are forbidden for a reason. If you've ever frozen under an insult, here's the shift you need to make. You don't argue, you don't explain, you don't ask for respect, you change the frame. Destroy comebacks live here. High risk, high reward. Public, loud, unmistakable. When they land, the room tilts in your favor instantly. Start with the high-status reframe. Watch the series Mad Men. In that, Ginsburg lashes out, trashes an idea, expects resistance. Most people would rush to defend themselves. Don Draper doesn't. He barely acknowledges the attack. I've got a million ideas. I don't need this one. That's it. No heat, no justification. The insult doesn't get fought, it gets erased. Ginsburg shrinks in real time. The audience feels it. Draper didn't win an argument, he removed relevance. That's the pattern. You don't answer their words, you answer their position. Next, the humiliation reversal. Winston Churchill gets threatened. If you were my husband, I'd poison your tea. He doesn't bristle, he doesn't escalate, he steps sideways. If you were my wife, I'd drink it. The room erupts, the attacker collapses under her own setup. That's the key. You let them build the trap, then you close it. Denis Leary tries to big dog Greg Giraldo by mocking him for being too prepared, too polished, basically saying, "You're not raw like me." Giraldo doesn't defend himself. He waits. Then he flips the meaning of the insult. You're the guy in school who did all the homework and then asked for more. In one line, Giraldo reframes Leary from dominant rebel to insecure tryhard. The crowd instantly understands the hierarchy shift. Leary wasn't powerful, he was needy. Giraldo didn't attack Leary's words, he exposed Leary's motivation. That's why it lands. That's why it silences. Perfect timing, perfect angle. Leary's exposed without Giraldo raising his voice. The crowd decides the winner immediately. Understand the cost. Destroy comebacks create authority, but they also create enemies. Some people will resent you. Some will remember. That's the price of public dominance. If you can't live with that, don't swing here. But if you do, if you strike clean, the room never forgets. Laughter locks it in, silence seals it. You don't just win the moment, you alter your status. Most people would flinch, most would explain, most would apologize. You don't. Not every situation calls for a knockout.
Sometimes the deadliest move is restraint, calm, charm, subtle frame control so precise the insulter doesn't even realize they've lost. This is charisma with teeth. This is silent authority that bites without showing fangs. First move, insult the attempt. Don't attack the person, attack the effort. Someone throws a tired jab, waiting for reaction. You pause, smile, slow your tone just a touch. That joke's been used 3 times tonight. The room laughs, not at you, but at the attempt. Notice the shift? The insult loses oxygen. You didn't escalate, you didn't flinch. You expose the weakness underneath. Energy flips. You lead, they follow. Second move, boundary without friction. You don't snap, you don't moralize, you redirect. Watch someone like Jordan Peterson handle hostile questions. He doesn't swat them away, he reframes them effortlessly. That's an interesting angle. Let's talk about what actually matters here. No drama, no heat. The attention seeker starves. The crowd senses control. You move forward while they're stuck behind the line you just drew. They're reacting to your reality, not the other way around. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Insulters crave attention. They want reaction. Deny it or redirect it, and their strike hits air. Humor and composure signal intelligence. Frame control signals authority. You're not reacting, you're conducting. Most people would defend. Most would sink into the mud. You pivot. You elevate. You keep the rhythm. Every pause, every smile, every subtle correction reinforces dominance. The audience doesn't just see a comeback, they see a leader. Someone who doesn't need to win loudly to win completely. That's charisma. That's mastery. And it terrifies the wrong people. Destroy dominates. Charisma bends. Humor disarms. Humor is a blade disguised as laughter. It turns a threat into play, a jab into entertainment. Suddenly, the attacker isn't performing. They're performing for you on your stage. You're in control. First move, tit for tat. Mirror the insult, match the tone, exaggerate just enough. Nice jacket, looks like your grandma's curtains. Pause, smirk, lean in slightly. That's what you say when you want my jacket but can't afford it. Notice how the energy shifts? The room bursts, the attacker freezes. Their insult is now your joke. You didn't escalate, you redirected. Timing does the damage, laughter does the rest. You watch, they react. You're conducting the room. Second move, absurd imagery. No explanation, no justification. You paint something ridiculous, make them visualize. Someone takes a shot at you? Tilt your head, slow your tone. You look like a loading screen that never finished rendering. The room gets it instantly. Laughter explodes. The insult collapses. You didn't attack them. You attacked the frame they tried to trap you in. Now they're stuck reacting to your reality. This is the subtle power. The insulter feeds on tension. The audience feeds on mastery. Humor gives them both, on your terms. Aggression becomes spectacle. Embarrassment becomes leverage. Most people flinch or overcorrect. You play, and play wins rooms. The audience doesn't just hear a joke, they feel control. They see someone bending energy instead of absorbing it. Humor isn't soft, it's surgical. Sometimes the strongest response isn't a word at all. Silence, stillness, untouchable presence. The jab hits, the words land, and nothing. The attacker blinks, hesitates. Suddenly, they're questioning themselves. The room feels it too. Power shifts without a sound. First move, literal answers. Someone sneers, "Big man in a suit, huh?" You don't flinch, you don't justify, you don't perform. Yes. That's it. One word. The rhetorical attack collapses. The room notices. The energy tilts. You didn't fight the insult. You refused to play. That's dominance in motion. Second move, controlled laughter. Not nervous, not defensive. Calm, measured amusement. Someone mocks your style, your words, your posture. You smile. Maybe one deliberate laugh, then move on. The insult, diffused. The attacker, empty. The room, awed. They sense it. Confidence without explanation, without effort, without aggression. Here's the truth. Confidence isn't proving. It isn't bragging. It isn't reaction. It's immunity. Most people scramble, panic, defend, apologize. You remain steady, cool, untouchable. Presence carries the weight. Presence does the work. Words are optional. Every insult asks something of you. A choice. If it is a public stage, eyes on you. Enemy testing your limits, strike, destroy. One clean hit and the room tilts in your favor. They remember. You remember. If it is a private setting, ally nearby. Workplace tension, don't burn. Redirect, frustrate. Show control without leaving ashes. Pick wrong and you pay. Pick right and you rise. Read the room. Feel the energy. Move first. Destroy or disarm. Nothing else works. Insults are probes, tiny arrows, testing fear, testing hesitation, testing your confidence. Most people react. They show weakness. You pause. You absorb. You convert. You choose. Laugh when it works. Deflect when it stings. Dismantle when it needs closure. Not from memory, not rehearsed, from instinct. The room sees it before it names it. The attacker feels it before they understand it. Every insult is a chess move. One misstep, you're exposed. One perfect step, the game tilts silently. Control isn't loud. Control is felt. Insults? You've seen them for what they are. Master these responses, and you don't survive social moments. You command them. Humor, calm, precision. Every move adds weight. Every pause speaks authority. This isn't theory. Skill comes from practice, observation, repetition, refinement. The prey thinks they're hunting. You already made your move. Every room is a chessboard, every word a weapon. Your comebacks decide who's standing at the end. If this hit a nerve, subscribe. Watch more on Social Mastery. You've stopped being weak.